Oh God, what is happening to my marriage?
Oh God, what is happening to my marriage? What once looked like a beautiful love story was slowly turning into something I could not even recognize. Was Emeka trying to test my patience? Or had he been deceiving me all along just to eat into my wealth? Before I take you deep into the story, let me say this. Make sure you like, subscribe, and drop a comment on where you are viewing from. Trust me, you're going to have an opinion about this. It all started on a calm Saturday morning, the kind of morning where the sun peeks gently through the window curtains and the air smells of fresh bread from the kitchen. Grace, that's me, and Emeka had been married for 2 years. 2 years that I thought were filled with love, understanding, and unshakable trust. We had just finished a busy week. Emeka had been out meeting investors for one of his new business ideas, and I had been running my foundation, the Second Chance Center, a home for abandoned children. Our routine was simple. Saturdays were for relaxing together. But that Saturday, things changed forever. We were having a quiet dinner at the massive oak dining table. The chandelier above our heads glowed warmly, casting little golden reflections on the polished plates. I had made pepper soup, his favorite. For a while, we ate in silence. I thought maybe he was tired. But then, Emeka cleared his throat. "Honey," he began, his voice low. I looked up and smiled. "Yes, love." He shifted in his chair, his fingers tapping the edge of the table. He said he had been wanting to have this discussion with me. He just had been waiting for the right moment. But I guess now is better than prolonging it. I paused, spoon halfway to my mouth. "What is it?" He looked straight into my eyes. "Grace, I need my own biological child. I want to be a father once more." The spoon slipped from my fingers and clattered against the plate. The sound was louder than normal, echoing in the dining room. My stomach dropped. "Kids?" I asked in disbelief. "Emeka, I thought we discussed this. The children at the Second Chance Center are our kids. They are enough. What more do you need?" His jaw tightened. His voice rose. "Don't you understand me, Grace? I want my biological children, kids made from my sperm." He was almost shouting now. The word sperm bounced off the walls like a slap. I froze. This man, the same man I found shivering under a bridge 2 years ago, the same man I clothed and fed, the same man I gave a new life, was demanding children from me as if I was failing him. My mind went back to the day I met him. It was raining heavily. I was driving back from a charity event when I saw him, soaked, cold, and holding nothing but a torn nylon bag. His eyes had that desperate look of someone who had seen too much pain. I stopped. I offered him food, a place to rest. Over time, I fell in love with his humility, his gratitude, the way he treated me like I was the only woman in the world. And now here he was, raising his voice at me in my own house. "Emeka, we agreed," I said softly, trying to keep my voice steady. "We agreed that the children we care for at the center would be ours. You said you didn't care about biology back then." "That was them," he snapped, pushing his plate away. "I've changed my mind. I want children who look like me, who carry my blood." I swallowed hard, blinking rapidly to stop the tears. "And what if I can't give you that? Will you leave?" He didn't answer. He just stood up and walked out, his footsteps heavy on the marble floor. That night I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, hearing his words again and again in my head. Biological children, my sperm, carry my blood. Was I wrong to marry him? Had I been blind this all the while? The humble, grateful man I picked up from the street? What happened to him? Where did he go? The days that followed were awkward. Emeka acted normal during the day, but there was a distance between us. Still, I kept doing what I had always done, supporting him in every way. I sponsored his business trips, paid for his expensive shopping sprees, bought him watches that cost more than some people's cars. I didn't complain because I believed in his dreams. But deep down, I noticed changes. He was always on the phone, whispering in the corner. He started going out more without telling me where. Sometimes I caught him staring at me with an unreadable expression. One evening, I overheard him on the phone. He was in the study and the door was slightly open. "Yeah, don't worry," he was saying. "I'm working on it. Soon I'll have what I want." I stepped back before he saw me. My heart pounded. What was he working on? Was it about the child he wanted or something else? Still, I stayed quiet. I told myself marriage is about patience. Maybe he was just stressed. Maybe it was my fault for not giving him what he wanted. When Emeka first moved into my life, he never showed any deep interest in my money. At least, that was what I thought. He acted humble, never asked for too much, and made me believe love was all he wanted. But the day he accidentally overheard me talking to my lawyer about my assets, something in him changed. That evening, I caught him staring at me differently, not with love, but with a strange calculation in his eyes. That was when his greed began to grow. I didn't notice it at first, but looking back, I can now see the pattern. Over the next few months, Emeka began finding ways to gain full control over my wealth. He didn't ask directly. No, he was smarter than that. He tried 4 different plans, each one more desperate than the last. One afternoon, he came home all excited. "Honey, I've met a big investor who wants to start a company with me, but I'll need you to invest first, so he knows I'm serious. Just a small loan of 50 millionaire. 50 million small? I raised my eyebrows. Emeka, I don't give loans to people I don't know. What kind of business is this? He mumbled something about real estate in Dubai, but when I asked for documents, he couldn't produce any. The big investor never showed up. I refused to give him the money because I didn't get enough proof from him. 2 weeks later, Emeka came home with a bandage on his arm. His face was pale, his voice weak. "Grace, I almost died today. A truck nearly crushed me. The only reason I'm standing here is because a man pulled me away. But now I owe him 20 million naira for damages to his goods. If I don't pay, he says he'll ruin my life." I was already rushing to my bag for my checkbook when something told me to call my friend at the hospital. She told me Emeka had only come in for a minor scratch. No truck accident, no man, no damages. When I confronted him, he laughed nervously and said, "I just wanted to see if you'd help me." Then, one evening, while we were watching TV, Emeka suddenly asked, "Grace, have you written a will? In case anything happens to you." I looked at him sharply. "Why are you asking me that?" He smiled innocently. "Because I love you and want to make sure everything goes to the right person, me." I nearly choked on my tea. "Emeka, the right person is the children at the center, not you." After this conversation, I started blaming myself if I had responded to him badly, not knowing he had a bigger plan yet to be executed. He was very, very creative at crafting this particular plan. He told me he wanted to organize a charity gala for abandoned children at an orphanage, pretending to support my cause, knowing that this was one of his conditions then for accepting my love. He showed me fake invitations, fake sponsorship letters, and even fake pictures of an orphanage he claimed needed urgent funds. But I decided to surprise him by visiting the orphanage myself before giving him the 80 million naira he requested. When I got there, it was just an empty plot of land with weeds. That was the day I started locking my office drawer. After these failures, I noticed Emeka became moody. He spent more time on his phone whispering to someone I didn't know. He would go outside to take calls, staying away for hours. Whenever I asked who he was talking to, he'd wave me off. Still, I had no idea what was really going on until that Sunday afternoon. It was a warm, lazy day. We were in the garden near the estate gate, sipping fresh juice and laughing about something silly. For the first time in weeks, things felt peaceful. Then, bang, bang, someone knocked hard at the estate gate. "Hello, good afternoon, madam. Please, I'm looking for Emeka." I froze. Emeka's smile disappeared. I turned to him. "Is it your Emeka she's looking for or someone else?" He stammered. "It must be someone else. Don't worry. Let me handle it." He stood quickly, but when I also stood, he grabbed my arm. "Grace, please sit down. I'll go see who it is." "No," I said firmly. "We'll go together." When we reached the gate, the woman on the other side was already shouting insults. She was in her early 30s, wearing a faded yellow dress and holding a small bag. Her face was twisted with anger. "You devil! You liar! You used me! You promised to take care of me and our son!" I turned slowly to Emeka. "Our what?" The woman didn't stop. She began banging the gate with her fists. "For 1 year you've been coming to me. You gave me a baby and told me to keep quiet until the right time. But I'm tired of waiting." I felt like the ground under me was shaking. Then I saw him, an 11-month-old baby boy strapped to her back. Everything became clear. The late-night calls, the sudden need for money, the fake business deals. This was part of his bigger plan. If he had succeeded in getting my billions, he would have used the money to send this woman and the child abroad, far from my sight. He would have lived a double life, rich husband to me, secret father to them. But his plans had failed. And now, his sins were knocking literally at the gate. I stood there frozen. My ears were ringing, and for a moment I thought I didn't hear the woman correctly. But the way she kept shouting from outside the estate gate told me it was true. The baby strapped to her back was crying, but my eyes stayed locked on Emeka. His face was pale, his lips trembling, and he couldn't look at me for more than a second before turning away. Then, right there on the driveway, he dropped to his knees. "Grace, please, I'm sorry. I can explain," he said, his voice shaking. "Explain what, Emeka?" I asked, my voice low and heavy. "That you tried to take my money and still had time to get another woman pregnant? That you've been lying to me for over a year?" The woman outside the gate raised her voice even more. "Madam, don't let him fool you. He's been with me for 1 year. This is his son. He told me to keep quiet until he got what he wanted from you, then he would take me and my baby abroad." My whole body went cold. Suddenly, everything made sense. The strange business plans, the fake accident, the will he kept mentioning, the charity project that went nowhere. It was all part of his plan. He crawled closer to me, his hands shaking. "Grace, I love you. I didn't plan for this. I made a mistake. Please forgive me." The tears in my eyes made the world blur, but my voice stayed firm. "You don't love me, Emeka. You love my money. You love my house. You love the life I gave you. I picked you up when you had nothing, and this is how you repay me?" I turned and walked straight into the house. My legs were shaking, but my anger kept me moving. In the bedroom, I threw open the wardrobe. I started pulling out his clothes, shirts, trousers, shoes. I didn't fold a single thing. I grabbed his belts, his watches, his perfumes, even the expensive suits I bought for him. I carried them all to the front of the house and threw them outside the gate. The sound of each bag and box hitting the ground was like a hammer hitting my heart. "Grace, please stop," he shouted. "Where will I go? I have nothing." I turned to him, my face wet with tears, but my voice sharp. "That's exactly how I found you, with nothing, and that's exactly where you're going back to." He looked around one last time, at the mansion, the cars, the garden. Then he picked up one bag, dropped it again, and slowly walked away. I shut the gate hard behind him. My hands were shaking, but my mind was clear. This wasn't just about cheating. This was about betrayal. And I was done. That night, I sat alone in my room, the silence of the house pressing in on me. I looked around at the life I had built, the walls, the furniture, the garden I loved so much. Everything was still here, except the man I once called my husband. I kept asking myself, how did we get here? Just 2 years ago, I believed I had found a man who would stand by me for life. I believed love was enough, but I have learned the hard way. Love without honesty is like a house without a foundation. Sooner or later, it will crumble. I thought about all the times I defended him, all the ways I supported him. I paid for his trips, bought him clothes, funded his business ideas. And still, it wasn't enough for him. The truth is, Emeka never loved me. He loved the comfort I gave him. He saw me as a ladder to climb out of his old life, but the moment he reached the top, he wanted more. Betrayal is a wound that cuts deeper than poverty or loss. Money can be replaced, but trust once broken never returns the same. I don't regret helping him when he had nothing. That is who I am, a giver. But I have learned to be a wise giver, because some people don't come into your life to grow with you. They come to take until there's nothing left. Today, Emeka is gone. I don't know where he is, and honestly, I don't care. My peace is worth more than any relationship built on lies. What about you? If you were in my shoes, would you have forgiven Emeka or thrown him out like I did? Drop your answer in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story so others can learn from it.